So we had flowers, we get flowers.
Mostly dogs, very few cats, but there are some cats.
From K-State, graduated from K-State.
Yep.
So I made
We are, after the time, we're waiting for another person, but we can go ahead and start the meeting now. The new rules are that you can sign up to speak until till Emily is finished with her shelter speech, okay? And then I'll pick it up, all right? Okay, so I want to call the meeting to order. We were too busy talking about stuff, my bad. And the first thing we'll do is we're gonna approve the minutes, and one of the things I'm gonna mention about these minutes, there's a lot of unintelligible discussion, and I'm probably not speaking, am I speaking loud enough? No, I'm not yelling, I've gotta yell. We have a problem with people, and I'm one of them, speaking lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, and then she can't hear it. So if I ask you to speak up and say, speak up, I'm not trying to interrupt you, I'm just trying to say, speak like George, okay? Because everyone can hear.
Don't say what I say, but yeah, speak up.
Just speak at his level, and that's not easy for me, but that's okay. So that's what I'm gonna do this time, because we really had a serious problem when she had to get him off there, so we'll try to work on that. All right, so we will have the minutes that have a lot of unintelligible parts to them. Does anyone have any amendments or changes to the minutes? And then we don't need to do the November minutes, we just need to do the January minutes. Because we approved them as amended last time. Are there any questions or any changes? Okay. No changes from the board. I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
I second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Or raise your hand. Okay, the minutes have been approved. Our first up is Emily.
Hello, everybody. I am gonna project my voice so
Yeah.
loud this time.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Great.
Okay, so we have this year's new reports. We'll take a look at just general shelter statistics first. You guys can see our total number of intake, 160 cats, 363 dogs for February. Oh, I forget we didn't have January's numbers at the January meeting, so 212 cats for January, 160 for February. Dog intake was 420 in January and 363 in February. And then you can see other intakes which were nominal, as well as the euthanasia types. Does anybody have any questions about the general statistics report?
It's interesting that the intakes are going down in February. That's good. They'll be coming back up again.
Yes, that is, and for those that are new to this, we always see a slump in intake during the winter months, and pray for kitten season and puppy season to be a slow start. Okay, we'll move on to the animal attacks, bites, exposures, and dangerous dog report. I just noticed an error. I still have 2025 up on the top left box, so I'll make that adjustment. It should say 2026. So here you can find total number of dog bites, cat bites, other bites and exposures, and then our subtotals from there. Any questions on that section?
Dog bites are going up considerably.
Yeah.
And those do dog bites and, okay, total attacks. So dog bites and total bites and total attacks. So this does take in attacks and dog bites
Under
number of bites and attacks, which means, okay, that's.
yeah, you know, I wonder if maybe I entered in the total bites and attacks together instead of total dog bites. So I'll confirm that
Just to do that.
and recheck it.
Okay,
Well, okay, so if you're,
If the bite
is,
adds up to total bites,
Yeah, those two columns do add up to 101, 77 and 24.
no, but the dog bites, cat bites, and other bites also add up to total bites.
Yeah, so it's gotta be an error because cat bites should be subtracted from total bites. and that's gonna bring it down below 85 anyways. I can correct it, look on my computer while when you guys conduct the rest of
Don't
the.
worry about it, just do it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
All right, down to the next section is dangerous dogs. And just a reminder, this is a newer section. And so Susan asked some questions about clarity on these. I thought I would go over that with you all. Dangerous dog intake, and I made some notes for myself just so I don't forget. Dangerous dog intakes are any dangerous dogs that come into the shelter in that month that require an investigation. So that may not necessarily apply to other columns that are in here. That's just this month, this is the number of dangerous dogs that came into the shelter that were reported attack or a bite for an investigation. And then your dangerous dog euthanasia is going to be any dogs that were deemed dangerous, either by us as animal services or by an individual family, like dog owner, that, I'm trying not to let my voice drop.
Speak up, speak up. Yeah.
That requested euthanasia. So, for example, if your dog bites your child and you bring it to animal services and say, I'd like to have my animal euthanized, if he would qualify as a dangerous dog otherwise, if it was a different, but we're not going to do an investigation or any type of determination on our side. So that's going to be included within this number. Then dangerous dogs that were surrendered with no determination, that tells you in this category how many of those there were, right?
How many what?
How XUP means owner surrender. And no determination means we did not complete an investigation and make our own determination that it was dangerous.
Okay.
Emily, question. Can you briefly tell everybody, so we're all on the same page again, how do they deem a dog dangerous? It used to have to go through the captain, then it was going through the court, and so who is the determining factor? Is it you and the two supervisors down there? Who's on that committee or whatever that deems a dog dangerous?
Well, to keep from me prefacing anything, really chapter 6 is what determines if the dog is dangerous. It is myself and my two supervisors' position to apply chapter 6 to the investigation and the evidence that is provided. And then if the owner of the dog doesn't agree with our determination and they want to appeal it, then it goes to the court. And so really just by reading chapter 6 and those dangerous dog definitions state out pretty clearly what the different levels are and if it should be deemed.
So let's say there's 3 of you.
Yes.
Let's say one thinks it's this and the other 2 don't. Is it you get 1/3 vote, or are you the main?
Typically if it's, we don't vote on them. We do the reports typically independently. It is all of our positions because we have quite a few of these investigations to have to complete each month and they're rather detailed. And so we would sometimes if it's maybe a more complex case or we're faltering because things can be nuanced and saying, well, I'm trying to determine if this is a DD1 or a DD2, then that would, then we would consult with each other. Or they may consult with me as their supervisor. If I need additional clarification on it, I may consult with my deputy chief.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How many of these dangerous animals have subsequent rabies that are euthanized?
Speak up.
Have rabies examination?
Tell me what you mean by examination. Like quarantine?
No, well, quarantine or they end up being euthanized and then.
We send it for specimen testing?
Are tested.
Gotcha. So,
Trying to be delicate with that.
sure. No, that's good.
Nuance.
I don't have the figures on how many we have to send for testing. Typically, if we think that the animal will be able to go back to its owner, we're gonna just do a rabies quarantine, which is 10 days. If there's an instance in which the animal has no option to go back to its owner and we need results fast, then we may submit them for testing.
This brings up another issue. I know that there are people who bring in like an animal like a raccoon or something. Do you have an awful lot of wildlife that you test and send up? It'd be nice to know how many of the wildlife in there that you have to test, because that's part of your duty. Or that's part of what you do, I think.
Right, typically, if you have, the other bites and exposures column is going to be attested. All of it. If you need exact figures, it would take me some time
You
to
got,
go
yeah,
through.
because you've got 18 or 30, I'd be interested to see if they're like skunks or raccoons or what's going on.
That would be a lot of manual, review.
Really? And as they come in, really?
For me to determine if the body was sent to as specimen. I can tell you how, I can run a report to determine what breeds of animals came in, but what the outcome was and if it was attached to a bite or exposure is not something that is congruently tracked within our software. It's managed through multiple different areas that I'd have to cross-reference.
All right.
How many positive rabies tests is that something that never happens, or does it happen, and how do you report that to the general public?
That is managed through the health department, and we have not had I can't tell you exactly how many years, but I know it's been some years that we've had a positive rabies test in our city for a while.
Okay.
There have been, I think it was the beginning of last year where we had like 4 cats that were positive, but they were in surrounding areas. And they were usually outside cats. They were kittens. I think there was 4 because it was unusual. And they put out a rabies thing that the state did.
I'd have to consult with someone else to see how long ago the last positive result was.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
A dead animal, squirrel, anything on the street. Is that program still in place? It was one woman came and got the report in the morning, and she went out. So she doesn't do it on Saturday or Sunday, I take it. So if someone turns one in on a Friday, it would probably be Monday before it was picked up. And if you turn it in before a certain time, she may get it that day. Is that still in place? So do you just call the 350-3360, talk with the operator, or
leave a message.
Leave a message and say, hey, there's dead anything, correct? I mean, skunk, raccoon, possum.
Deer.
Or even dog or cat.
So,
Even
yeah.
dogs and cats.
Well,
that's right.
So, okay.
Yes, so that program is still in place. That is still part of Animal Services duties. We do contract with a woman who has her own business to do the majority of them, smaller animals. She does not pick up deer and things like that. One of our animal control officers has to do that.
Okay.
Ready to keep going, or any more questions? Okay. I just wanted to point out too, because this is new and it can be a bit confusing. So these columns under dangerous dogs do not necessarily add into each other. So dangerous dog determinations, for example, that is the month in which the determination was made. So an animal, for example, could be on DD intake for January, but its determination was not actually complete until February. And so those numbers don't necessarily go into there. And for the DD intakes, they can have a wide variety of outcomes. It could be that we decided it was not a dangerous animal and needed no determination, and so it's just returned back to the owner. It could be that the owner complied with whatever the determination requirements were for having a dangerous animal. Or it could be euthanized, right? Depending upon what the violations were, the owner's compliance or the owner's choices. Sometimes owners, even if there is an investigation involved, they want to relinquish the animal before the investigation is even complete because they know the scenario of the instances and feel they're not prepared to continue caring for the animal. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand that those numbers don't necessarily add up into each other and that they can carry over on different months depending upon what the outcome is for them.
And I think there's some confusion with the public as to why DD dogs are not included into your total euthanasia rate.
That's correct.
Because DD dogs they're not like a stray. It's something that is determined by ordinances.
City ordinance,
Yeah, the
correct.
city ordinances. But if it's deemed 1, 2, or 3, well, if it's deemed 1 or 2, it can go back only to its owner if they do a bunch of different things to make sure that it's going to be safe for the community.
Right.
That deemed level 3, it doesn't go back, and that's a pretty serious bite.
That's very serious.
And attack or whatever. And so it is not something that is, they are set aside from the normal XUP data because it does not belong there. It's totally different category, totally different number of dogs. So it does not add into that. I know a lot of people say, well, you're hiding data now. And you're not hiding data because this data does not include, is not included in your total animal count as far as euthanasia count.
Right, and that's just because that is typical practice. Things that are counted into what others would consider a euthanasia rate or save rate or live release rate, they all have different definitions. Vary based off of that animal's subset of, or that, I'm sorry, that shelter's subset of animal intake. And so typically, for example, dangerous dogs, those are not stray animals. They can only be released to their owner if they're met within certain requirements. And their outcome is determined by ordinance, not something that else. And so if you were to look at like our partner, the Kansas Humane Society, that subset of animal, which is a more common shelter model, that subset of animals is not included within statistics.
Yeah, and I think people, I think you all have heard about Best Friends. Best Friends is the organization that started the no-kill movement. And they have down here that it doesn't include saving every animal entering a shelter regardless of medical or behavior issues or quality of life. If that animal can put a public safety at risk and it's euthanized, it cannot be put on it's not counted in the live release rate or the the no-kill rate. And they also say, Best Friends, I'm going to say it right now, they say no kill is not saving every animal entering a shelter regardless of medical or behavior issues or quality of life, because some of them you're put down because of that, or blaming, attacking, or vilifying shelter staff. Okay, that's one of the things that they are putting in. You can't blame them for what they're doing, and then putting the public safety at risk. And so I want people to understand that you're not hiding numbers. You're just using numbers that are quantified or that go into this the category of what is no kill.
Exactly, and the numbers are still reported, so it is still very clear and transparent.
Yeah, they're just not included in the percentage of kill. And by the way, congratulations on the numbers of animals returned.
Yes,
37% are returned to their owners. And that is the highest number I have seen ever. And I'm wondering if it has to do something with the microchips. So
I think that it definitely does. We've really been making a bigger push towards microchipping. I think overall as a community, we're working and at the shelter, of course, trying to make sure that animals that leave the shelter are microchipped back with their owners. We've also made sure that all of our officers are equipped with microchip scanners in the field. So, speaking of microchip scanners are equipped with the officers in the field. The officers prioritize returning to owner in the field if possible, which can really make a huge difference on our overall population. And we're also just trying to work with owners on fees, anything we can do overall as a shelter to improve that return to owner rate, because reuniting an animal with its owner is going to be our number one goal.
I noticed that a lot of the dogs that come in on Pet Connect have names, which means if they have names, they've probably got a microchip attached. And there's a lot more dogs that are coming in with chips, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I think we need to let people know that mandatory microchipping does work. It does work.
And just a reminder that people can bring their animal to Wichita Animal Services to be microchipped for they can bring their animals to Wichita Animal Services to be microchipped for just $15. And so I really encourage them to do that or to attend a nonprofit's event for free microchipping or to contact their veterinarian.
Do they have to make an appointment to bring them in to be microchipped, or do you have a set time that they can bring them in?
Anytime. We just ask for their patience because sometimes the lobby can be really busy.
Okay, good. That needs to be is that on the Facebook page? Reminder people they can come in?
No, but I can get that added.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, so next category is just reported bites and attacks by district. Pretty self-explanatory. Any other questions for me today? Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.
I'm gonna get out of that. Did anyone sign up to speak today? Okay,
Just me.
just you?
I tried to talk them into it, but they wouldn't do it.
speak? No. This gives me a chance to come up here and grab some of these benefit. That he always brings. Is this your pen, Emily? Is that your pen?
It is Zach's.
Oh, here, I'll make sure that you get that,
Sure.
okay?
In
Well, actually, you have to remind me or I'll
this
walk
guy,
off.
he's a number.
Okay. Okay, so
Did
public
all the math, he
speaking,
was right.
we have Tony Linger from District 4.
Can I sit here and talk if I talk loud?
No, I think you better come up here.
Okay.
I don't know where the mics are in the ceiling.
Oh,
Is it-
okay. I honestly don't have a lot to say this evening, but, and Emily, that's a great report. And the statistics, it sounds like are going in the right direction. Return to owner is improved. The number of animals coming in is going down. But these are just statistics, and what I don't hear talked about are outcomes. We know who's returned to owner. We know who's been put to sleep.
Speak up.
Sorry, can you hear me? But we don't know where the rest of them went. I know some of them go to rescue through KHS, but nowhere do I find this published what rescues are going to. Are the rescues licensed? Are they some rescues that they've actually visited to make sure that they have great conditions? Because you read in the news all the time about some rescue or person who has a great heart and they started in rescuing all these animals and then they get in trouble. And then they find dead animals and animals that, you know, have died a miserable death. And I would really, really like to see, and I don't see anybody from Kansas Humane Society here, but I would really like to press them to have them give us a list of what rescues they're sending these animals to. I think there was a couple of meetings ago, there was 100 cats that went to some rescue. Do they even know where those cats went? So, but they're not publicizing that. That is not transparent. And I take issue with that. Okay, that's it.
Okay, that was a short, we're gonna have a short meeting tonight, guys. It's not, and I'm not giving trouble for being 10 minutes late starting the meeting. Okay, new business is public concerns for the January meeting. And I think Emily, I've already sort of discussed one, which was dangerous dogs. We try to pick up and answer so that when you come with a complaint or a concern, it's not fair to ask Emily to just immediately answer that because she may not know what it's about, so she can go back and talk about it and then bring it back at the next meeting. So that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, so I think you have some stuff.
Yeah. I will say one thing that was disappointing for me is that I made it a point to make sure that every speaker left with my business card so they could contact me for follow-up. Because some of the concerns were a bit nuanced or difficult to understand, or it sounded like maybe they had a general misunderstanding of the process to get to what their concerns might be. And so I didn't hear from anybody. Nobody emailed or called me. And so some of their concerns, I re-listened to the audio and checked the minutes because it wasn't really clear what each individual wanted. I think that one of them, let's see. Yeah, okay, so I think that the first speaker, she wanted to know what behavior, like what types of behaviors will the Kansas Humane Society take for their open adoptions program. But again, it sounded like she kind of had a misunderstanding about how that process worked. So I'm just gonna kind of talk about that process and hope that she'll contact me if she has further questions. So Kansas Humane Society, and I apologize, their interim CEO was intending to be here tonight, but she was ill and so she wasn't able to come, but she does intend on coming to the meetings with us. And she, being interim CEO, it's a lot to do. So Kansas Humane Society has what is called an open adoptions program. And what that means is that there is no application to become an adopter. A family could just walk in, choose an animal, adopt them. There's some requirements like driver's licenses, and they do talk to them about some of the animal's needs as much as they know about them, because often they're stray animals. But then they're able to just take that animal home that day. Other rescue groups often have applications that are a bit more lengthy. They do things like vet checks, they do home inspections, they make various things, right, Ellen? I mean, you guys have some applications like that. I'm sure that they're all different. But also all rescues handle a different subset of populations typically. Some handle small, elderly, behavior issues. They all have their specialty. And so that's really where this balance comes into place. So the Kansas Humane Society does assessments, and they do check on the animals periodically during their stray hold before they need to transfer over for adoption. If the animal is showing behaviors that don't seem like it'd be safe to just hop in the car and go home with a family, specifically dogs, but also cats, then that's not going to qualify for their open adoptions program, because they can't tell that family that this animal is going to be safe to get in your car and go home with your children, right? They do have a behavior program where they work with dogs that may show a little bit of fear or a little bit of aggression, things that they think might be related just to shelter stress or maybe under socialization. But they have limited spots within that program, and they just can't take all of the animals with certain behavior needs that they can. That's why we work with rescue groups, because we're very, very thankful for our rescue partners, for them to be able to take other animals that aren't able to get to the open adoptions program. And that open adoptions program is also fully dependent on the number of adoptions that KHS has, so that those next spots can be filled. So for example, on an animal that might have been, might not be going to the Kansas Humane Society, could be because of lack of space at the Kansas Humane Society. So the next time somebody adopts at the Kansas Humane Society, that's going to open up a spot for either their owner surrender or for one of our animals to come over. So those behavior failed animals, where they're showing some type of behavior that they don't think they can get into one of their programs or on their open adoptions program, that is then published on a public website for all of our rescues, and all of the animals' behaviors and daily interactions, assessment, videos, all of that is there for our rescue partners. And they often share that information like on their Facebook groups or their networking groups or with their fosters, that kind of thing. So all that information is contained within our rescue network here, partnership. So I'm hoping that that kind of addresses what her concerns were, but do you guys have any questions about it?
I think I have a question. You mentioned that there could be adoptable animals at the shelter, but there's no space in the behavioral program. So my question is, what happens to a dog who's at WAS, but needs to go to the behavior program, but doesn't have space in the behavior program?
So we would be looking for rescue for it.
So that would go to the rescue site?
Yeah, okay, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And the rescue could pull a behavior and it would not necessarily go to KHS first, correct?
Right. Yeah, and it's just, and we try to work with the rest. I mean, that's the thing, is the rescues all have very different populations they work with. They have different types of fosters that are specialized in certain things that can deal with certain things. So their openings and availabilities also really matter. And yes, what were you gonna say?
No, speak.
Oh, their openings and availabilities also really matter. And in every animal's fearful behavior for an animal in the shelter can range from cowering at the back of the kennel to jumping towards the barrier because they have barrier reaction and they're growling and snapping. But that's why we depend on the rescues to know what they can handle, to understand the dog's behavior. We invite all of our rescue partners to make any appointments as needed with the rescue team so they can visit with the animal one-on-one, so they can determine what might be appropriate for their program. And we try to send photos and videos as whatever they might need.
The concern that I have heard is that it's a lot late by the time they've evaluated a dog and said, oh, you know, it's like, it's got 2 more days to go. It's been there for a long time, and they're concerned, and they would like to be notified on
Earlier.
day one. And I've told them, I said, if you see a dog you want, you tag it day one.
Yeah.
And hopefully it will go out as soon as possible. But with this upcoming year, with upcoming dog days coming up, and you're seeing it now, I think one Saturday they had 22 dogs come in. And that's a huge amount of just coming in.
Yes.
And
Summer is coming, which means that our timelines are gonna shorten because our intake is gonna shorten. And so I am working with the Kansas Humane Society to make sure that they're able to get their assessments done within the first 24 hours that the dog is there, or cat. And that way we can get it posted on rescue before, you know, within those first 24 hours before the stray home is even up, to say, this is the animal's needs and behaviors, this is what we have. And then as the rescue team or our team members are able to go along further to get more videos or photos. But yes, I agree with you. If the rescues think I could take this animal, please tag it.
well, I think having done this before, doing an assessment the day that the animal comes in is probably the worst time to do an assessment. And so you're not gonna get a true assessment.
That's why they
Yeah.
continue to do follow-up, but we can, the point is that we can at least get some information and get the ball moving so that we can get what we can get to the rescues. at
But
a time.
some rescues don't want you to assess them. They do their own assessment. They don't need an assessment through KHS.
That's
So they
fine.
don't need to wait. So there's a situation where rescues can say, because if our rescue goes in and I look at a dog, I go, don't let anyone touch it, we'll take it. Okay, just leave it alone and we'll take it. And so is that good? I know rescues have mentioned this, that they felt that it was at the last minute that they have to scramble for foster parents for the animals. And so I'm encouraging them to tag early and look for a foster home and hope that if they tag it, that the Humane Society will go on to the next dog, knowing that there is a tag in somewhere and where this dog can go. Because it's gonna be a mess in July and June. You're gonna be swamped right now, and you're gonna be swamped. And that means if we don't get those dogs out fast, then there's gonna be an issue with A, kennel cough, and B, dogs having to be put down that shouldn't have to be put down.
Mhm.
So that's, I know I'm speaking for rescues that I've talked to.
Sure.
Okay. So that's something to think about. We need to expedite dogs getting out, period. Not just having the Humane Society pick out which ones they want. But if a rescue wants that dog and they can take it immediately and they're good and they've been then get that one out, because it's got a way out other than the Humane Society. Because they're gonna be swamped too. They're gonna sit there and go, there's time right now, they're saying they won't take any adult dogs because they're full. And they leave them there. And so,
I had a friend that looked at the KHS and she's like, they've got some 4 and 5-year-olds up for adoption now. So they're taking adult dogs.
well,
So that's, I mean, half of the dogs she looked at were
Older.
not, yeah, well, they weren't 2 or 3 years old.
well, the dogs
And
are,
two, I mean, do you want, I'm a little confused. First you say they're not being assessed soon enough, and now you're saying you don't want them assessed. So which is it?
I'm just saying that if you assess it too early, you may get a wrong assessment.
But you said
Okay.
they were waiting too long, so what?
Yes, what I'm saying is that if a rescue, and you said that they continue to assess them day after day, right?
Yeah, as
Okay.
availability.
Okay, so, but if a rescue wants to take them before it's assessed, if they don't care that they're not assessed, they should be able to take the dog. Because before they'd have to wait for them to assess it to decide
Well, they
whether or
can
not.
tag it through the KHS, can't they? If they're interested in the dog.
I think another concern about the assessment that we heard a couple of different times over the year that I've been here now is that there was incorrect assessment being done at intake. Dogs whose breed was misstated, the sex of dogs was misstated. And so I'm curious to know if those kinds of things are still happening. If we haven't heard anything in January. I don't think we heard anything about that in November. Is that just because the onslaught is so much smaller, or is that because there are maybe better trained people at intake, or what is that?
So the assessment that KHS does is different from when the animal gets relabeled or sexed at intake. So our officers are gonna be the ones, animal control officers are gonna be the ones that are responsible for identifying the sex of the animal and placing a breed in there.
Speak up, speak up.
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean, Emily, I did imagine that was the case. What I'm confused about.
No, I was gonna continue. I was just gonna
Oh,
repeat
sorry.
myself louder first.
Sorry.
I hate to interrupt you, but it needs to be done.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. So what I was saying was that the assessment that the Kansas Humane Society completes for their open adoptions program is different than the breed assignment or sex assignment at intake, because they're done by different organizations and different people. So the assessment that Kansas Humane Society completes is independent of us. They typically the next day after the animal comes in, they will complete the assessment so that they can determine if they think it's eligible for their open adoptions program, or they'll refer it to their medical team, behavior team, to see if there's other ways in which they can get it into one of their programs, or they'll refer it on to rescue. The intake that is completed by our animal control officers, which assigns breed and sex, is something that is it going to be a long-term training plan? And so we have been working on it, and I know it doesn't seem complex, but alongside the other duties of animal control officers for intake, whether it's at the front desk or in the field, can be complex. And so checking the sex of the animal can sometimes be quick and easy. Sometimes it may take more, depending upon that animal's comfort, what they've endured, if they had to be chased, through a neighborhood and cornered, to be able to get to the animal control fan. They're not going to be super excited typically about being sexed right at intake. And so that's the information that typically goes up on 24 Pet Watch right away.
Right, that was the complaint from the rescues.
Right.
So
And
that's
so-
the part I'm
Yeah, and so
talking about.
that's something that we're working on, finding different ways in which we can ensure that all of our officers have the same training, that we prioritize what it is we're doing. The breeding is a bit more complex, just because there are some limitations within our software about how we're able to put in mixed breeds. Additionally, being newer to the animal services world, I don't know what your background is. It takes some time sometimes for people to gain a little bit more expertise on that. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been some wild mistakes on the website.
Probably that's what we were hearing.
Yeah, but all I can tell you is that we're going to continue training, continue making improvements and corrections in that field, and continue making those updates as we become aware.
Very good. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I have brought in some animals for some people, and sometimes, they'll try and find out the sex, right? I've watched them, and it's like, sometimes that animal just does not
That animal said,
cooperate.
no, thank you.
And, you don't want the ACO officer scratched or bit or whatever, and it's just kind of like, okay, we'll do this a little bit later.
Is there AI that can help with breed identification?
Actually, that's where I found that a lot of our breed identification tends to go haywire.
Yeah, I mean, I've got something where I can identify the birds at my feeder, and it's like, that's not an American raven, that's.
Sometimes when you get when I see a really crazy one, I'll ask the officer, I'll be like, where did you come up with that breed? AI. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's what happens. I have a thought, okay, and this is because I go to the animal shelter. And I will give an example. There were 2 Great Pyrenees mixed dogs that came in by someone who found them. They were on a leash, they were friendly, I petted them, they wanted to be seen. And then they went to the back of the room, and I said, oh, they're really sweet. But then when they went to the back, they became fearful and scared, and they were deemed not adoptable because they were fearful. Can your people, when they have persons bring in a dog, they can know dog came in on a leash, very friendly, not at all frightened. And so that's your true test as to what their personality is, not when you put them in the back of a cage with dogs barking. And so is there a way that you can have your staff do their own, is a dog wagging his tail? Is it walking on a leash? is the person who brought it in, are they able to handle it without getting bit, that sort of thing. Because I was shocked when those 2 dogs were not deemed adoptable because they were fearful. And I go, but that's only because of the circumstances that they're in. So
Yeah.
that I think would help in some of the, I think, misevaluations of the dogs.
Sure, I think that is definitely something that we would have had discussions about and would like to work towards. It's just implementing where that and how that is recorded, and then making sure that it's a continuity of process is something that just takes time. And as we're trying to make improvements with some of our current operations, it's just going to have to feed into those additional improvements.
Really
Well,
good.
the
Well, I
fact
think-
that you're shorthanded doesn't help.
But it doesn't take, I think it doesn't take too long to say friendly on there when it just comes in, friendly, leash trained. And so I don't know why it would take a long time for that to do, because I think that is a very good way of getting a true personality on that dog. And I think that will help some dogs not be misdiagnosed as fearful and things like that.
Okay, so we do record condition on intake, so there is fearful and normal. There's other ones that are related to like medical types of behavior or aggression. So if it's of normal condition, then that means that the condition on intake on our reports means that it did not show any type of concerning fear or aggression. The difference about having things like leash trained and additional notes, that is a bit more complicated based off of the areas in which our software we have to input information that we can pull reports from so the Kansas Humane Society can see them.
Isn't there a place on their intake sheet where you have like like you have, you know, what do I say? I'm getting old, where you can just have additional information.
Yes, but that cannot be pulled by a report. So the animal ID has to be looked up individually. And go ahead.
Okay, but doesn't it have, you have the sheet that used to be, it used to be a
You mean on
paper
the
sheet.
kennel card?
Well, not on the kennel card, no, on the intake sheet. We used to have an intake sheet.
We don't, it's not paper, it's electronic.
I understand, now it's electronic, but isn't there a place where they can just put down some insights into what they saw the dog? And that's what I think is gonna save a lot of these dogs, is just doing a real, I mean, like I said, these dogs were wonderful when they walked in the door. I petted them, they were very friendly, and then they turned into being frightened dogs and not available for adoption.
No, I agree. Like I said, I think everybody involved in the process agrees that this would be preferred to be something. But what I'm saying is that
It'll be different.
the space in which I can enter that data, I cannot then export it without it going to the individual animal's record. So that I can't easily get that information to the Kansas Humane Society or to the rescues without more manual time. And so then by the time we get to the summer, like we have to think about when we're creating new processes and recording this information, is how is it going to look like in implementation in real time when we have 1,000 dogs coming or 500 dogs coming into the shelter. So there's not a way for me to then get that information to the Kansas Humane Society assessment team or to the rescues unless I have somebody manually go into each record and pull up that information.
I do have a question about the sort of training that those who make those assessments undergoes, or the resources that you that you have available to train individuals who are making the assessment.
Are you meaning animal control officers or Kansas Humane Society assessment team?
Well, whoever's making the assessment and animal control, is that an animal control officer who's
When you
doing,
say assessment, do you mean
like
the breed and sex or the behavior?
or the behavior? Is that all Humane Society
That
stuff?
would be Kansas Humane Society.
Okay.
Mhm. But yeah, I don't know specifically what their training programs are now, but next time, I believe the interim CEO will be able to speak to that.
Okay.
Any other information you want to talk about?
Oh man, you guys, I think we only got through speaker 1. Speaker 2 was Tony, who's here now, and she asked the last time where the data is on the animals that are not on the sheet. Those animals were transferred to a rescue partner. Our data does not differentiate. It's the information of what rescue it went to is recorded in a narrative box of the software. And so that does not allow us to pull reports from. We can go to an individual individual animal's ID and tell you what rescue it transferred to, but we can't pull a list of reports of which rescues it went to. I would tell you that I know our two biggest rescue partners for cats that was mentioned is, oh, I'm gonna test my memory on their name again. But we have two really great rescue partners. One is in Missouri and the other one is in Wisconsin. And it's in my slide from that animal services advisory board meeting, but I'll have to come back. But all of the rescue partners are verified for for their state license, and that all of their information is correct. We do not inspect rescue partners' locations. That is why we require a state license, is because that is part of the state license requirements. Speaker 3, also, like I said, didn't contact about concerns. I could hear that she said that she asked about dangerous dog determinations. I remember that. She was worried about a dog that was deemed dangerous at our shelter because she had puppies. And the puppies were available to transfer adoption, but the mom was not. The reason we don't deem animals in the shelter dangerous for their behavior within the shelter. And very much so, definitely not mothers of puppies, because can you imagine being in a shelter environment with a bunch of puppies? That's incredibly stressful. If a mother dog were to attack or bite an employee, for example, she would not be deemed dangerous. Typically, if that's the instance where the mother was deemed dangerous, we have had several instances where the mother dog was pregnant at the time of the bite or attack while running at large, had puppies in the shelter, or was running at large. Her puppies were at home, but the owner chose to relinquish all of them together versus just the mom, and then we sought to find a live outcome for the puppies. But just to be clear, we would not deem a mother dog dangerous for her behavior in the shelter with her puppies.
Yeah, I think she also said something about some false positives or false negatives on heartworm.
Yes. So the heartworm tests, KHS is our contracted vet, and they use the IDEX SNAP test for heartworm tests. And then they also take advantage, IDEX offers the ELISA, and you'll have to help me, maybe you know more about this than I do, but the ELISA lab determination verification. So they do the SNAP test, then they send something off to the lab from a separate test. The lab then verifies whether it's positive or negative. And I received a report that the two that they said were false positives actually got retested within 30 days and they were confirmed to have heartworms.
Yeah, that IDEX test is pretty reliable, but they're encouraged to send off samples that are positive to the reference laboratory for them to use a different technology test.
Yes.
To confirm the positives.
Right. And so that is our current protocol.
Yeah.
I think what brought that up is that they had 3 dogs that rescues took that were deemed heartworm positive, and they took them to their veterinarians and they were negative.
When I can confirm that at least 2 of those, that negative test was confirmed to be a false positive, and they showed, because when they did the retest in 30 days, it was confirmed that they did actually have heartworms.
Oh, really?
The
Okay.
negative test.
Okay, so they said it was negative. Okay.
Yeah, if they use a different test and it's not as sensitive as the initial test, then that potentially could mean a false negative.
I believe that she also brought up something. I thought it was another one.
The time frame of euthanasia.
Oh, no. Well, the same person said that she wasn't allowed to take pictures or videos at the shelter, which I haven't ever had a request from her, and I encourage her. She is allowed to take. We've had some concerns with the public, so general public isn't allowed to just walk back there and take pictures and video. Anybody that is networking for rescues or working with a rescue, I would absolutely invite them to please come and take pictures and videos to help us network these animals. So I hope that she does eventually contact and we can get her through that. KHS also has a volunteer program where volunteers can get training through the rescue department and get authorized to come over and help us with those pictures and videos as well. And then you're right, the next speaker was concerns of the euthanasia timeframe. And so it is, even if we have the available space, 2 weeks is the time limit for dogs and cats for us with, oh, I thought that man was talking to us, is the time limit for animals in our environment. We do offer some, wiggle room if, say, a rescue is able to place a tag within those 14 days and they're coming for transport. We're of course going to extend that deadline because our goal is going to be that positive outcome, but pretty soon we won't have the space anyways. So any other questions on that?
Okay. Is there any questions from the public? No questions?
I did have one question. When you were talking back with the rescues on, when on intake are they actually put on the site where the rescues can see them? Cause like Ellen was saying, if the rescues are gonna go on and tag them before the behavioral, are they on the site where the rescues can see them, or does that only happen after KHS evaluates them?
So all the animals that come into the shelter that are stray animals are going to be on the wichita.gov/lostpets website. So all of our intake is posted there. And then we try to repost that onto Facebook. And then the specific rescue page is where those are going to be posted about 24 to 48 hours after the animal's intake and the assessment is done. So we can tell the rescues, this animal's failed for the behavior program. These are the behaviors we exhibited, that kind of thing.
So if rescues wanted to see them before the behavioral, that they'd have to go to the government.
They could just see our whatever our daily intake is.
Okay.
So what is that rescue site you talked about?
Speak up, please. Speak up.
What is the rescue site that you just referred to?
I will publish the link in the minutes. Can we do that? I can't reciting it. It
Okay.
has a
But
longer.
can anybody get on
It is public.
it? Okay. Okay. You get the link.
Yes. It uses a software called Trello, but
Oh,
it's something like KHS dogs needing rescue, cats needing rescue, something like that.
okay.
George.
Yes, George.
I hope the public appreciates this because you guys asked the questions. Now she comes to the next meeting and answers them. So I think it's a good thing.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, sir.
There appears to be a lot of confusion about some of the.
Speak up, please.
It appears to be a lot of confusion about some of the standard operating procedures. 1 year ago this month, I asked for a copy of those procedures. Are we still working on that?
Oh, absolutely. It is going to be a very in-depth process that's
2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
honestly, that's difficult. I can't place a timestamp on that. We're making changes to it as we're able to get through each operation.
Changing the tires while the car is moving.
Yep.
Do you understand
Speak up, sir.
do you understand the legal danger of having verbal policies instead of written policies?
The updated policies are provided in writing as we are able to the officers as we update a section. So the previous policy is still the expectation.
For example, you said that there is a policy that the adoption partners are encouraged to take pictures and videos and the general public is not. Is that a written policy?
You're testing my memory. I know it's posted on our door. But
Does that have a policy number assigned? Because if it does not, it violates the 14th Amendment.
I would have to look into that for you.
Okay, I'll keep waiting.
Any other questions from the board or the public?
Well, that sparked my memory. This is 1 year that I have been on the board, and it took me 4 meetings to really understand what was going on, and I still think I don't understand. So when you think about replacing board members, if it takes 8 months for the board member to get to speed, that feels not very efficient to me. And I think one of the things that would help is if I had some copy of the operating procedures. I think another thing that would help me would be an org chart, so that an ACO is known to me, or kennel tech, I see today that your signature is shelter manager. I did not know that was your title.
That's
These are-
more, I don't, that's more of a, just something that I put at the end of the things. I have a
Okay.
long title that is cumbersome, so.
Well, I
Have you
just think-
taken a tour or visited at the shelter? Have you taken a
I
tour
did, actually, my very first month, I did that, so,
with Emily?
well, Emily wasn't working there at the time. So, no, I have not, but I still think, I mean, for my purposes, and maybe the public's purposes, something that's written down, something that's displayed, or is something we can access online would be very helpful in terms of trying to gather the information, understand the information. And it feels transparent.
Our information is available for Recora, or if you email me, I can send it to you.
Speak up.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry,
Please.
but our policies are available for a Kansas Open Records Act. Even if you just email me, I can send it to you, a copy of it to you.
Public has to Cora it though.
Say what now?
The public has to send in a Cora request.
Typically, yeah. If a board member asks me for something like that, I believe I have permission to just email it though. I would highly, even especially after you've been here for 8 months, highly encourage you to schedule a meeting with me to come for a visit, because I am unaware of what your onboarding was prior to this, but I can assure you that I'll help make it easily accessible for you to understand our operations now.
Great, that would be nice.
Yes, sir.
For citizens like myself, can you add pictures? I do better with pictures.
Yes, well, that is, I'm sure, I honestly think that some of our animal control officers would be as well. All I can tell you is that our policies are heavily out to date, and in order to do it well, it does take time, because there's much to be determined on how we can improve those policies. Not only is it changing the policy, but reviewing it, analyzing it, and determining, is that the best policy? And then as we change it, we can't just change it abruptly. We have to figure out then how to train the officers so that we may change the policy.
Oh, I certainly understand the challenges. I understand, but even something that's out of date
It's still gonna give you,
paints a picture.
absolutely, yeah, and I can definitely email that to you. If you wouldn't mind emailing me to remind me, that would be
Yes.
fantastic.
That would be great. I will make it.
Any other questions? Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Let's go on. All right. Now then, old business. Second Light Homeless Pet Susan.
So I didn't really know what to suggest, and I'm wondering if we as a board and the public, and I was hoping that Donna Garcia might be here again, that we might find a way to restore the funding. I'm pretty sure, Nancy, I looked back in minutes, it was you that said that the
I
penalty.
have followed this since the beginning. It
Yes.
was originally they had phases when they first got the map. And animals was supposed to be in phase 2. And then they took it out. And then, because when I saw it on the agenda, I talked with Maggie the other night. And it is still on the agenda, but she said besides funding, she's also mentioned room. So I don't know if and she's in DC, and so I will try and get a little more detail once she's back and caught up. But at one time, they did have an area that I thought they were gonna designate to house the animals. And that the residents could then 2 or 3 times a day, if I remember correctly, could be with the animals and be able to take them out into a courtyard.
Mhm.
And I think that has changed also. But I know that she's kind of staying on top of that. And as for the funding, that's gonna be hard to say since the sales tax did not pass. And the funding for Second Light was tied to that. I don't know. And I don't know what we could do.
Well, I'm wondering about public-private partnerships,
And I think they have
sponsorships, things like that.
some of that, and maybe it's a thing of
Do you feel like if I,
maybe contacting and actually, I think the mayor's on the board.
yes, well, she's on my appointment list now. She was on my, she was the appointment, now I have to. So,
And
okay,
because I
but
think they do have, I know they have outside help, or
Yes.
I volunteer at the Lord's Diner. They provide meals, they provide lunch and dinner. Because I work food prep, so I know. So I know they work with different agencies on different things.
yes,
But with Donna, I know that is kind of separate and they've kind of started their own.
who is Dawn? Oh, Donna Garcia, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, no, she's just another
Contact.
facet of this.
Yes.
And that did make me remember that. I think one of the things that Donna asked about, or Donna said that they were getting ready to do, because we had a cold snap coming up, was to transport animals to the shelter while the humans went to Second Light.
And the police department does that as well,
Okay.
but a lot of people will not separate.
Right.
And so they have also, they also have kind of their own foster program. They have some people, like if a homeless person ends up in the hospital or something, they've got a few fosters. And of course, they would love to have more.
Right, right.
So yeah, I'm supposed to call them and meet them for lunch, and I haven't done that yet either. So maybe we could do
That'd be great.
together and meet
And you're talking about Donna?
Donna. And then too, if you're gonna, and I'll touch base with Maggie again, and then if you, have a conversation with the mayor.
Mayor Wu.
But I want to stay on top because I want to see that they eventually do that.
I think that's a very big part of the success of
It
the
is.
shelter. And so Emily, I wondered, after the cold snap, do you have a sense, I could see in the minutes that you were going to manage that in some way, make sure you had space. Do you have a number? Were there a number?
Was this the one from January?
Yes.
Yes, so we had 10 total homeless animals in the shelter. And we had one of those was a homeless assist without PD, 7 of those were PD assists. And yeah, that's all we had for the 23rd through the 25th of January.
Did they come back and reclaim the animals?
Yes. Yes.
So all of them went back to
Yes,
owner.
and we worked with our partners, the Kansas Humane Society and Wichita Animal actually to provide free spay neuter services and rabies services for them.
Wonderful.
Which, just to be clear, I would love for us to do that kind of program all of the time. But January is a particularly low number for intake for us and our partners, so being able to make that extra bit for a small number of animals was easy.
Yeah, that's what I was actually even thinking about obviously if there's gonna be kennels at the shelter, they have to be staffed. And I was thinking, once you are fully staffed, you'll need your full staff in the summer, but maybe some of the staff could be during cold snaps at Second Light. Don't know if that's sharing possible, and that's kind of down in the weeds of the details at the moment, but just maybe there are some creative and helpful things that we could do that could make this happen, because I think mental health is a big reason why people are on the street to begin with, and I think animals are very helpful in maintaining mental.
And I had that conversation with Dalton Glasscock. We talked about that, and I'm like, they're stressed as it is, and then they have to be separated from their
Yes.
animal. A lot of them are not
Not
gonna do
gonna
that.
Right.
And I think they understand it. It's just a matter of timing, personnel, room, and money.
One of the things that I had a meeting with Donna Garcia and her team through Spay Neuter Kansas, and they are dealing mainly with encampments.
Yes.
Okay, and they're trying to get some of the people into places to stay, And they can't do that until the animals are spayed or neutered and vaccinated. And Spay Neuter Kansas is going to be providing that service for them at free, no cost. Some of them are already neutered, but they just need the vaccination for rabies before they can be accepted into housing. And so we are working with them on that. Just started the partnership, and on one encampment, there's 25 dogs. And so we're gonna try to get them in as often as we can, as soon as we can, to try to get, hopefully, the encampment dogs all spayed, neutered, vaccinated, and microchipped. And the microchips will go to, I said, where do we put the microchips? And they are going to be the holders of the microchip numbers, because the people don't have any way of contacting, but they know the people generally. So it's gonna be a plus, I think, on some of the animals, at least going in there. And then gonna try to address parasites within the encampments, so.
Because I also know those that do go to foster, it's, because Donna and I talked about that, was they need their vaccinations, especially if the fosters have other pets. And
with the encampment people, hopefully we're gonna be able to help do that. I mean, it's always more people that help, better off, but they were thankful that they're gonna be able to do that as much as we can, as much as we can. Any people from now I want to introduce Bob Livingston. You're with Sedgwick County Animal Disaster Team. And I've spoken with you about going in and treating them like disasters, just for these really cold spells. And
Right.
would you like to speak a little bit about
Well,
that?
we're in preliminary discussions right now on that. We haven't really made any decisions now, as we're restructuring our board about what can we do as a response team, when things like this happen, like cold spells and everything. Because we do set up sheltering, mobile sheltering for disasters. So when there is not a disaster, how can we help for things like, cold weather snaps and things like that? So we'd be interested in partnering or getting in discussions with somebody else, that we can
I've got
see
his
if
contact number, Susan.
see if that's a viable option for us to be able to help, because surely we should be able to do that, as long as it's not an extended period of time, because like everybody else, we're volunteers. We could set up sheltering, but it would take some planning, some discussions, and yeah, we'd be happy to discuss that with somebody. What can we do? Where can we go? I can bring it up to my board, and we can see how we can help.
That is so awesome. Thank you, guys.
Pardon? I didn't hear what you
I
said.
said it was awesome, and I
Yes.
think so.
Yes, okay. I couldn't understand what you said. Okay. Any other questions? Anything more to speak on this? Okay, we'll go on to the next item, which is the budget update. We voted on January to increase 3 per year for the next 2 years. And you sent an email to Dante and the police department. It didn't have any justifications to it, and I have asked.
I talked to them, I met with Emily and Deputy Chief East.
It
We
was.
didn't need justification,
It
they
doesn't
know the
need
justification. I talked to the council member, because when I emailed you, I told you exactly what they said on justification. And the recommendation has been submitted, which gives, and Emily might want to talk to that, because
I wanted her to talk about some of the justifications that she had, because the board was not made privy of the justifications.
Ellen, we talked about this, we've been talking about this for over a year. We had justifications, we talked about, Emily gave testimony at the September meeting about the justification. We've been talking about that, Derek talked about it for the last 2 years. So I don't understand where you're coming from, that we don't know the justification.
Does anyone here know the justifications?
I did try to look into the minutes to see, I saw that you mentioned, Nancy, that there was gonna be that there was some formula by which we might be 18 officers short
That was
from the state or some
yes.
organization. It wasn't
And-
just something, but you had that. But I didn't,
And a lot of the stuff was unintelligible. So-
yes. So I guess what I would still want to know is, back to something that George has brought up several times, and we didn't get that this month, but it's the little response, field response rate. And so it's, it's 92% field response. I would have a hard time justifying why I might need to increase what I'm paying in taxes if we're getting a 92% rate. Like, I just don't understand that.
Well, I'm sorry, we've been talking about it for 6 months. If you didn't get it, Emily and I went through it detailed in September.
Okay, well,
I
Emily,
just-
okay, I asked
And
Emily.
by now, it's really kind of out of our hands. The recommendation has been made. It now gives Emily the opportunity to discuss it with her staff and with the council. So once we've made the recommendation, we do not have to show justification. Emily, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct, because it has already been put on my, my, I don't know. I'm not finding the word I'm looking for. It is now my job to provide the justification in the budget request.
I guess I think that what we did was not have, I wish that it was my fault. I should have asked you to review the justifications for that. The letter was originally supposed to be sent to the city council, and that's where it was supposed to go, not to the police department.
But, and why wasn't it sent to the city council?
Because I said we needed to have justification.
Because you changed your mind and
No.
wanted to veto it. I told you for 6 months.
I'm not gonna get
The
into the argument.
recommendation, I have a copy of the email I sent you. I'd be glad to hand it out.
Yes, I understand that, and I was.
That was my concern when I found out that you refused to send it to the council,
I
I
didn't
contacted
refuse.
Dante Martin and told him the situation, and he said to submit it to him and to Deputy Chief East, which is what I did. And
Right.
also council members do know that the recommendation was made. And it was unanimous.
I'm not gonna get involved in this anymore, so we'll just drop that. I guess we won't discuss the recommendations. I think that there were some very good ones, some justifications. I asked and talked to you about the fact that look at the numbers of bite reports, and the bite reports have increased. And also,
The justification is that she's shorthanded, and I don't know how many times
Well,
she has
that's-
talked about being shorthanded, and that she has no extra people. If people are on vacation, she has no one to cover for them. If they call in sick, she has no one to cover for them.
okay, well, we'll end that, and that'll be the end of that, okay? I'm gonna go on with KDA and do something very positive, okay? I've been waiting for a text for Senate Bill 344. 344 has to deal with neonates and amendment to the ordinance or the laws that deem where stray neonates have to be kept. And it was passed, it's been worked through, it's been busy, but we were stressed a little bit. It passed the 344 stated that neonates don't have to stay at shelters for 3 days or 6 days. They can be sent to fosters to be cared for properly. And at this particular time, the Wichita Animal Shelter is having to euthanize neonates because they don't have fosters, they can't even do that. So this bill will enable, if it passes, and I'm hoping it will, it passed through the Senate Ag Committee and the Senate unanimously, fast. Everyone understood this was a necessary bill. It passed through the state, through the House Ag Committee, and we were sweating bullets because the turnaround time is it's gotta be on the docket for the House floor by tomorrow. And we weren't gonna do that, and I just say, hey, it's on the docket, so it's on the docket to be heard. Hopefully it will pass, And then it will then, I think, Emily, take place in June. I think in June I'm hoping, unless they make some changes to it. So I would encourage everybody here, if you have some time tomorrow, to contact your representative and tell them to please vote yes with no amendments on Senate Bill 344. I mean, and Tony knows that because I sent a lot of people to contact them, and I contacted since it's gonna be heard, we don't need to bother the Speaker of the House, because we were wondering, it kept being passed over, and we thought it's not gonna make it. But I just got, as we were talking, confirmation that it's going to be heard tomorrow, so.
Because as of yesterday, they were sending out notes that.
Yes, well, it's gonna be heard, and so, if you guys know your representative, please call them and tell them to vote yes.
Is it
Pass
gonna
this
be the
bill.
same number?
Senate Bill 344, okay?
But that's the same number in the House?
Yes, it's because it originated in the Senate, so Senate Bill 344 will be heard tomorrow on the docket. And so hopefully it will be an easy pass, because it's been an easy pass up until then. So I'm excited. So that's all I have to do. And also the TNR bill passed, okay? It did, the PNR, I just heard that it was passed, so.
The committee?
I think it passed totally, I think. I'm not quite sure, I should
think it passed
qualify it.
already.
But they said that it finally passed today, I think. And I need to qualify, so I was so busy with 344, I didn't want to worry about the TNR, because I was trying to get 344.
What all does that mean? I know what TNR means, but what does that mean? in
Trap
Pat?
mirror-
Yeah, I know what it means, but what?
What is the
in Pat-
bill?
What it means is that they're going to take feral cats, and they have described exactly what a feral cat is, not an abandoned owned cat. It's a cat that no one can handle, that you can't touch, that if they're picked up in a trap, then they can be brought to a facility, spayed and neutered, and then taken back where it was found. Now, is that really gonna fit the situation? No, there are some questions, because sometimes people say, we don't want this cat around here. And if you bring it back to them, sometimes, and I've seen it happen, people take it in their own to then take care of the cat their own way, which is take it out in the country and dump it. So I'm not real pleased with it all the way. I think that there needs to be some more check with it, but at least they're doing it anyhow, so now it's legal.
So the increases on our houses tax, is that what's gonna go pay for this? What's paying for these spay or neuters?
Well, I think private organizations. I don't think you guys are gonna be doing any TNRs, are you?
I mean, I can't speak to that, right now, it's, trap neuter release is technically, illegal within city limits of Wichita. This bill, could, obviously make considerations and changes for city policy, so I just can't speak to it.
Okay, all right. Well, I think that we have some organizations that can do that and are doing that. Wall, I think, does TNR. I think Bruce does TNR. Friends of Felines does TNR. And I think what they wanted to begin with was a cat that came in. A lot of times feral cats will come in and trap that are supposed to be true feral. Sometimes a tame cat can act like a feral cat when it's not in its right home. But, and that if those were made possible, and I don't know if the city would do something on their own on their own time as far as funding for that, then they could be returned instead of euthanized.
I don't think that it is passed as a bill.
Okay.
Yes.
I was talking to Midge, and she said, oh, by the way, the TNR bill passed, but I don't know. I don't know, so that is a question, and hopefully it will, but I think she's realizing that it's going to pass. I think that may be what the situation is, that it's taken care of all of a sudden. But anyhow, any other questions or issues within a district board members?
I have 4 quick things. The Malamute over there, Emily, the Malamute, it's doing a lot better. I haven't heard too many. I could talk to the neighbor, and I will, but I went by there the other day. It was out, but it was on a chain or rope or something. So I haven't heard, the bad things. So whatever you guys did worked. Then just behind them, the barking dogs, I don't know, you guys got a bunch of calls. There was dogs waking up the kids and stuff before they were ready to be awakened. And they moved. Those people moved with the dogs. So bye-bye. And then I have a question. We have another guy, he's getting ready to move about a barking dog. And at some point, I want us to, we had this pilot program that actually it was when he was Captain East, no, it was Pinkston, Captain Pinkston was gonna work on barking dogs. So we need to resolve that because this guy's getting ready to move and he's a good neighbor. I don't trade good neighbors for bad neighbors. So we need to get that rectified. The other thing is the last 2 nights, the city manager came to our neighborhood meetings, 2 different neighborhood meetings. And he said he's going on ride-arounds. He's been on the plow truck and he's also done a police ride along. And I said, well, you need to do an animal. And he says, I'm gonna do it. So look forward to that. So, but that's all I have.
Appreciate the heads up.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? I hear a motion to adjourn
I'll make the motion.
with the fact that we just won, we just got 3, 4, 4 through, I think. I'm so happy.
I second it.
All those in favor raise. Okay.